In a laboratory that resembled a chaotic art installation more than a place of scientific discovery, Dr. Lily Zhang stood at the center of a whirlwind. She was attempting to calibrate the newest prototype of her time fluctuation detector, an ambitious contraption cobbled together from a microwave, an old video game console, and a very confused coffee machine. The walls were plastered with equations, half-baked theories, and bright orange post-it notes that read things like, "Do not attempt time travel on Mondays." Today was a Monday. With one hand clutching a cup of coffee that had seen better days, Lily jabbed at the machine's buttons with the other. She was convinced that today was the day. Her groundbreaking discovery would launch them into the annals of scientific history. Just then, her lab partner, Mechs, strolled in, his face a perfect mask of skepticism. His hair was a wild nest of curls, and his glasses slid down his nose as he peered at the machine. "Is that thing going to explode?" he asked, gesturing toward the device that hummed ominously. "Only if I don't get this calibration right," Lily replied, determination lacing her voice. "And trust me, I'm not keen on becoming a historical footnote as the scientist who blew up her lab while trying to invent a time machine." "Maybe we should just stick to cat memes," Mechs shot back, folding his arms. "They're less likely to cause apocalyptic events." "Very funny. But in 10 years, we'll be known as the team that saved the world, or the team that made the best cat memes." She pressed a button, and the machine sputtered, sending out a series of sparks. Just as she managed to stabilize the device, a holographic projection whirred to life, displaying a cat wearing a top hat and monocle. It blinked at them, looking entirely too dignified for the situation. "Greetings, humans," the holographic cat proclaimed, its voice a melodious blend of sarcasm and seriousness. "You are on the brink of disaster. Earth's demise is predicted within 10 years. Max's eyebrows shot up. "Is this some sort of joke? Are we being pranked by the physics department?" The cat continued, ignoring him. "You must identify the pivotal events leading to this catastrophic future and alter them. Time is short. Find the key event, or you shall lose everything." Lily stared at the cat, a mix of confusion and delight washing over her. "A time-traveling cat? I need to get my caffeine levels up more often. Maybe we're already in the future, and this is just a very strange episode of Black Mirror," Mechs muttered. "Focus." Lily snapped, grinning despite herself. "We need to get to work. If there's even a shred of truth in this, we have to figure it out." The team of scientists gathered around, a motley crew that included Dr. Felix Ramirez, a hopeless romantic who believed every timeline could be altered by a good love story, and Sophie Chen, an intern who had more social media followers than all of them combined. As they brainstormed, the mood shifted from disbelief to a frantic excitement. Each of them had their own idea of what the key event could be, and soon they were tossing suggestions around like confetti. "Maybe it's when someone first invented the smartphone," Sophie suggested, her eyes shining. "I mean, think about how addicted we all became." Mechs groaned. "Or it could be when people started taking selfies, because clearly, those lead to disastrous choices." They all laughed, but as the laughter subsided, a weight settled over them. If they were going to change the future, they had to be serious. Lily took a deep breath, scanning the group. "Okay, we need to build a time machine. It's now or never." After a week of trial and error, the team managed to cobble together a time travel device from their lab's odd assortment of gadgets. The final result resembled a blender crossed with a very angry toaster. It buzzed, whirred, and occasionally shot sparks, which Lily insisted was just a sign of its inherent genius. "All right, Lily said, her heart racing as they gathered around. The plan is simple. We'll travel to key historical events and see if we can find the turning points that lead to our doom. Max, crossing his arms, looked skeptical. And if we mess up the timeline? We could end up as a historical mistake ourselves. Let's focus on the positives, Felix chimed in. We could inspire some great love stories in the past. Think of the possibilities. They all exchanged glances, a mixture of excitement and trepidation. With a final nod, Lily pressed the glowing red button on the device. There was a blinding flash, and in an instant, they were no longer in the lab. They landed amidst a sea of people, all clad in tie-dye and bell-bottoms, with guitars slung over their shoulders. "Welcome to Woodstock, 1969, a voice shouted, the sound nearly drowned out by the collective roar of music and laughter. Wait, what? Max exclaimed, adjusting his glasses as they took in their surroundings. This isn't a NASA event. No kidding, Lily said, her heart racing. I must have miscalibrated. Before they could figure out their next move, they were swept into the crowd, dancing hippies and flower children swirling around them. Sophie pulled out her phone, quickly snapping selfies and tagging everything as #TimeTravelTales, while Felix had a goofy grin plastered on his face, looking for a chance to swoon over someone. Focus, people. Lily called out over the din, we need to find a way to locate pivotal events. Max, ever the pragmatist, scanned the crowd. What if we... But before he could finish, someone bumped into him, and he stumbled backward, right into a group of festival-goers. They cheered, thinking he was part of the act, and soon he found himself thrust onto a makeshift stage, a guitar shoved into his hands. Go, man, rock out, someone yelled, as the crowd erupted into applause. Lily face-bombed, her eyes wide with disbelief. Max. No. With a look of sheer panic, Max shrugged and began strumming awkwardly. I should have stuck with the cat memes, he shouted, but the crowd loved it. Lily, meanwhile, was torn between wanting to laugh and wanting to save him from this musical embarrassment. Maybe we can blend some time traveling with this. Felix yelled, his eyes sparkling with mischief. Imagine if he becomes a famous musician in this timeline. As Max floundered through a few chords, the scene shifted. The energy of the crowd was infectious, and soon Lily couldn't help but laugh. They were a group of scientists, after all, in a time where peace and love reigned supreme. Yet, amidst the revelry, Lily felt the looming weight of their mission. This was fun, but they had to get back on track. They needed to discover the key event that would help save their future. All right, guys, time to get serious, she called out, finally managing to pull Max off the stage amid laughter and cheers. After several more historical mishaps, including inadvertently creating a viral meme in the early 2000s and narrowly escaping a political debate gone awry, they began to piece together a pattern. Each event they visited revealed decisions, small, almost inconsequential choices, that, when added up, pointed toward a future fraught with disaster. The breakthrough came when they stumbled into a tech conference in the near future, where a bright-eyed entrepreneur with messy hair and an infectious smile stood ready to unveil his new AI program. This is it, Lily whispered, her heart racing. This is the moment that changes everything. They huddled together, formulating a plan to intervene. If they could just disrupt the launch, they might be able to prevent the chain reaction that led to their predicted doom. As they made their way through the bustling tech conference, the atmosphere buzzed with excitement. Bright banners adorned the walls, showcasing cutting-edge innovations and futuristic concepts. Lily's heart raced as they approached the stage where the young entrepreneur was preparing to unveil his latest creation, an AI that promised to revolutionize everything from healthcare to personal relationships. Okay, remember the plan, Lily whispered to her team, her eyes darting around. We need to distract him before he presents. If we can just get him off stage for a moment. Easier said than done, Mech said, glancing at the audience gathering in anticipation. Look at them, they're ready to worship this guy like he's a tech god. I could always start a riot, Sophie said with a mischievous grin, scrolling through her phone. Or I could live stream this disaster. Felix, ever the romantic, piped in, what if we turn this into a love story? We could create a distraction involving a mysterious stranger who interrupts his big moment. Right, Mech snorted, because what he needs is a dramatic romance in the middle of a tech launch. Fine, but something needs to happen, Lily urged, her mind racing. They couldn't let this moment slip away. Just then, the lights dimmed, and the audience quieted, all eyes on the stage. The entrepreneur, a young man with tousled hair and a blazer that looked one size too big, stepped up to the microphone, exuding confidence. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey into the future. Lily exchanged panicked glances with her team. We have to act now. As the entrepreneur began his presentation, Lily took a deep breath and dashed toward the side of the stage, her heart pounding. Excuse me, she called, waving her arms as if she were trying to flag down a cab in a busy city. Can I ask a question? The young man stopped, clearly surprised, and the audience turned to watch her. Yes, he said, momentarily thrown off script. Lily seized the moment. What about the ethical implications of your AI? Have you considered the potential consequences of creating something that could outsmart us? The audience murmured, a ripple of intrigue passing through them. The entrepreneur's smile faltered. Well, we've done extensive research, Mech, unable to resist, jumped in. And have you thought about how it might affect, the fabric of society? Like, what if it goes rogue? Are you ready for a future where a robot decides it's the ruler of humanity? The crowd was electrified, murmurs turning into applause. Sophie, seeing the opportunity, jumped onto the stage. And what about cat videos? We need those. What happens to our internet if AI takes over? The crowd erupted in laughter, and the young entrepreneur looked increasingly bewildered. Felix stood beside Lily, putting an arm around her shoulder for support. Maybe we could help you develop a version of the AI that promotes love and peace instead? A Cupid bot. The audience roared with laughter, and Lily could see the tension in the entrepreneur's shoulders start to ease. Thank you for your input, he stammered, looking genuinely flustered but amused. I guess I hadn't thought about it that way. Of course not. Mech exclaimed, you were too busy planning your tech empire. At that moment, the lights flickered ominously, and a low rumble echoed through the hall. People began to murmur, a sense of unease washing over them. The AI's display screen flickered, and a series of rapid error messages flashed across it. What's happening? The entrepreneur shouted, his composure slipping. We should get out of here. Lily yelled, grabbing Mech's arm. This isn't just a distraction anymore, something's gone wrong. Wait! Felix exclaimed, pointing at the screen. What if we don't just stop the launch but also find a way to reset the AI before it activates? Are you insane? Mech replied, his eyes wide. We'd be risking everything. Better than letting it control our future. Lily shot back, determination surging within her. As the rumbling intensified, the audience began to panic. People started to move toward the exits, but Lily and her team knew they had to act fast. "We need to access the control panel," Lily shouted, glancing around. "Where's the backstage?" Sophie pulled out her phone. "I'll look it up, hold on." She typed furiously, then grinned. "This way." They sprinted toward a doorway marked "Staff Only," ducking behind a curtain just as the chaos began to unfold. The sound of panicked footsteps echoed around them as they hurried down a narrow corridor. "Here." Sophie pointed to a door that led to the tech area. They burst through and found themselves in a room filled with blinking lights and screens displaying data streams. "Quick, where's the main control?" Lily asked, scanning the room. "We need to shut this down." "Over there," Felix said, rushing to a console covered in buttons and switches. He glanced back at Lily. "What do I do?" "Just hit the big red button," she instructed. Felix looked at her, then at the button, his hand hovering over it. "Isn't that what they always say in movies before everything goes wrong? Do you have a better idea?" With a determined nod, Felix slammed his palm onto the button. The console whirred loudly, and the screens began to flash erratically. "Okay, that's good," Lily encouraged. "Now we need to override the system." Max leaned over, frantically pressing other buttons. Come on, come on." Suddenly, the screen displayed a message, "AI activation in progress." "Oh no!" Sophie exclaimed, her voice rising in panic. "We're too late." "Not yet," Lily said, her mind racing. "There must be a way to reverse it." She spotted a glowing icon labeled "Terminate." "That one," she yelled. "Hit that." Felix hesitated. "What if it crashes everything? What if we send the world into chaos? Then we fix it." Lily insisted, her voice steady. "Hit it." With a decisive gesture, Felix pressed the button. A loud beep resonated through the room, and the screens went black for a moment. Then a new message appeared, "AI deactivation successful." A cheer erupted from Lily's team, but their celebration was cut short by the sound of alarms blaring. "What's happening?" Max shouted, looking around frantically. "The conference center's emergency protocols," Sophie explained, her eyes wide. "They're probably going into lockdown." Lily felt the adrenaline surging through her veins. "We need to get out, now." They dashed back through the corridor, the sound of alarms echoing behind them. The crowd was still in disarray, people spilling out of the main area and into the halls, but with a sudden burst of clarity, Lily spotted an exit sign glowing in the distance. "Over there," she shouted, and they sprinted toward it. As they reached the door, a group of confused attendees rushed past, their faces painted with anxiety and excitement. Outside, the sun shone brightly, contrasting sharply with the chaos inside. They stumbled onto the sidewalk, panting and exhilarated. "What just happened?" Max gasped, leaning against the wall to catch his breath. "I think we just saved the future," Lily replied, her heart still racing. Sophie pulled out her phone, scrolling through the social media chaos that had erupted around the conference. "You guys, you won't believe this. People are saying we're heroes." "Heroes?" Felix echoed, his eyes wide. "But we almost caused a disaster." "Exactly," Max said, shaking his head in disbelief. "We're either going to be remembered as the team that saved the world or the ones who made everything worse." Lily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment settle in. "What matters is we stopped something that could have gone terribly wrong." The future isn't written in stone, we can shape it. As they stood together, the sun setting behind them, they felt a sense of camaraderie that went beyond their roles as scientists. They were friends, adventurers in their own right, and for the first time in a long time, they were hopeful, and just as they were about to discuss their next steps, the holographic cat reappeared, its cheerful voice cutting through the moment. Congratulations, time travelers. You've altered the future for the better. Lily couldn't help but laugh. What's next, cat memes? Of course, the cat responded, its monocle glinting. But remember, every action has its consequences. Keep exploring the timelines, and you may yet find new adventures ahead. As they all exchanged glances, a shared understanding passed between them. The world was vast, and they had only just begun to uncover its mysteries. With laughter bubbling between them, they turned toward the horizon, ready for whatever lay ahead. In the back of their minds, they all knew that the journey was far from over. The future was still unwritten, and with each decision, they had the power to shape it. With that thought igniting their spirits, they set off together, ready to face whatever adventures awaited them next.